Emily Thompson had always been playful, a whirlwind of energy that contrasted sharply with her father, Daniel, who had spent much of his life in the disciplined world of the military. From a young age, Emily had known how to make her father laugh, but she had also learned how to poke fun at him, teasing him about his quiet ways, his strict routines, and the way he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders without ever complaining. Daniel had raised her as a single parent after Emily's mother passed away when she was just a toddler. Despite the hardships, he had poured all his love and attention into her, working long hours during the day and spending evenings teaching her everything from cooking to patience, from discipline to the simple joys of life. Emily had always admired him silently, but she had never expressed her gratitude in words. She preferred humor, jokes, and pranks, the language she knew best. When Emily became engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Mark, she wanted to make her wedding planning fun, but she also wanted to include her father in a way that would get a genuine reaction out of him. So, she crafted an invitation that was equal parts teasing and genuine. The envelope was plain, simple, nothing fancy, but inside she had written a note that made her smile even as she imagined her father's reaction. "Dad, come to my wedding, if you can handle the chaos. P.S. Don't bring anyone extra," she wrote, thinking it would be funny to see his serious face and maybe even make him roll his eyes at her audacity. She sent it without thinking too much, just as a joke, fully expecting Daniel to shrug, smile faintly, and arrive at her small ceremony quietly, as he always did. But Daniel had read her letter with a different perspective. He saw the humor, of course, but he also saw an opportunity to show his love in a way that Emily had never expected. Over the past few months, he had been quietly planning, arranging details that Emily could not have imagined. He didn't want to simply attend, he wanted to make an impression, not to outshine the wedding or embarrass his daughter, but to remind her that family could arrive in surprising ways and that love sometimes came in gestures larger than life. Daniel had reached out to a trusted old friend, Michael Green, a man he had served with in the military and who had gone on to become a successful entrepreneur. Michael had been a mentor to Daniel in many ways, guiding him through challenges, teaching him patience, and offering wisdom whenever Daniel felt overwhelmed by the responsibilities of raising Emily alone. The two had stayed in touch over the years, and when Daniel mentioned Emily's wedding and his idea of making it memorable, Michael had immediately agreed to help. Together, they had worked quietly to plan a surprise that would leave Emily stunned but also filled with warmth, a reminder that life sometimes offered unexpected joy. Meanwhile, Emily continued her wedding preparations, oblivious to the quiet storm brewing behind the scenes. She arranged flowers, met with caterers, and coordinated seating charts, thinking mostly about small details like the perfect shade of pink for the tablecloths or whether the wedding cake should have fresh strawberries or chocolate drizzle. She imagined her father arriving quietly, taking his seat at the front, and watching her walk down the aisle, and she smiled at the thought, imagining his slightly stiff posture and the faint smile that always softened his face when he was proud. She had no idea that Daniel had arranged for a private jet to fly him in, not alone, but with 4 lively children he had unofficially adopted over the past few years, kids from the local community who had lost parents or needed a stable presence in their lives. Daniel had wanted Emily to see that family could expand in unexpected ways, that love could multiply, and that joy often arrived in forms that made life brighter than anyone could imagine. These children had been Daniel's companions, students of his guidance, and now, they were part of the surprise he was bringing to his daughter's wedding. He had also asked Michael to accompany them, not just to help with logistics, but to bring a calm, confident presence that would balance the whirlwind of energy Daniel expected from the children. Daniel imagined the look on Emily's face when she saw the jet, the children running with innocent excitement, and Michael stepping forward with a warm, reassuring smile. He imagined the laughter, the tiny moments of chaos that would make the day unforgettable, and he felt a deep sense of satisfaction knowing that he could give her this, a memory that would last a lifetime. As the day approached, Daniel quietly packed, choosing his clothes carefully, making sure to look presentable but still approachable, the way he had learned to balance his military discipline with the warmth he had cultivated as a father. He checked on the children, making sure they had everything they needed, from clothes to small toys to keep them occupied during the flight, and spoke to Michael about timing, the landing, and how to make the surprise seamless. For Daniel, this was more than a wedding attendance. It was a moment to show his daughter that he had been listening to her jokes, her light-hearted ways, and that he understood her desire for playfulness and joy. He wanted her to know that he could match her spirit in his own way, through love, planning, and thoughtfulness that didn't need words to be understood. Emily, on the other hand, continued with her preparations, arranging the last-minute details, imagining her father's quiet nod of approval, blissfully unaware of the elaborate surprise that awaited her. She had been thinking about everything but the possibility that her playful joke invitation could be answered in such a grand way. As she hung the final decorations and adjusted the ribbons on the chairs, she smiled to herself, thinking about how much she loved her father and how proud she was to have him walk her down the aisle. Little did she know that her father's answer would be a gesture so big, so unexpected, that it would change the tone of her wedding from a simple, intimate gathering to an unforgettable celebration of love, family, and the surprises that life sometimes offers when you least expect them. Daniel, watching the sunrise from the other side of the country, thought about the moment he would step off the jet, the children running ahead, the excitement and laughter filling the air, and Michael's calm, reassuring presence by his side. He felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years, a combination of pride, love, and anticipation. He knew Emily would be stunned, and he couldn't wait to see the mixture of shock, laughter, and tears that would cross her face. In that quiet early morning moment, Daniel realized that this wedding wasn't just about Emily marrying Mark. It was about celebrating family, resilience, joy, and the extraordinary ways in which love can show up in life. With a final glance at the children, who were now busy packing their small bags with nervous excitement, and a nod to Michael, Daniel felt ready. Ready to make the simple joke invitation into a memory Emily would treasure forever. And so, with a steady heart and a mind full of excitement, Daniel boarded the private jet, the engines humming beneath them, carrying not just passengers but love, laughter, and a father's unwavering devotion to the daughter who had always been his little spark, and who was about to see that spark ignite into a blaze of joy she would never forget. Emily Thompson was busy arranging the final details of her wedding when a sudden roar from above caught her attention. She stepped outside onto the balcony and froze, her heart skipping a beat. A sleek private jet had landed just a few meters from the venue, its polished black surface reflecting the morning sun. Emily's mind raced. Who could possibly be arriving in such a grand way? And then she saw them, her father, Daniel, stepping off the jet with a wide, warm smile on his face, not alone, but accompanied by 4 energetic children, each holding small bags and looking around with wide-eyed excitement. Behind them, a tall, calm man in a crisp suit stepped forward, his presence commanding yet comforting, as if he had been there to guide and protect for as long as anyone could remember. Emily felt her chest tighten, a mix of shock, disbelief, and excitement rushing through her. "Dad, what is all this?" she whispered, barely able to find her voice. Daniel grinned, a mischievous glint in his eyes that Emily recognized immediately. "You said not to bring anyone extra, right?" he said gently. "Well, I thought I'd bring a little extra family and a friend who wanted to make sure your day was perfect." Emily's eyes flicked to the man behind him. "Michael Green," he said simply, offering a warm smile. "Daniel and I go way back, and I wanted to make sure this day was unforgettable." Emily's mind struggled to process the scene before her. She had imagined her father arriving quietly, a simple nod and a proud smile, nothing like this grand entrance. And the children, they were lively, playful, and full of curiosity, running toward her with excited shouts, each eager to explore the wedding venue and find the best hiding spots among the decorations. Emily laughed nervously, half amused, half overwhelmed. This is insane," she said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Daniel chuckled softly. "Not insane," he corrected, "just unforgettable. Life is better when it surprises you, Emily." As the children scattered, exploring the garden and peeking at the flowers, Emily felt a warmth spreading through her chest. Her father had taken her playful joke seriously, but in a way that was full of love, thoughtfulness, and his quiet sense of humor. The 4 children were part of Daniel's extended circle, kids he had mentored over the years, giving them stability and guidance when life had left them uncertain and alone. Each one held a small token in their hands, a gift from Daniel for Emily, a reminder that family could be bigger than expected and that love could come in many forms. Michael quietly moved among the staff, giving instructions with gentle authority, making sure everything was perfect without making anyone feel rushed or pressured. Emily noticed the way he handled the chaos with calmness, the way he anticipated needs before anyone spoke, and she realized that this day was being made extraordinary not just by her father's surprise, but by the quiet support of someone who genuinely cared for her happiness. As Emily walked closer, Daniel bent down to hug the children one by one, making them feel welcomed and important, and she could see the joy radiating from each small face. One of the children tugged at her dress, shyly asking if she could help place flowers on the tables. Emily smiled, touched by the innocence and sincerity, and nodded. "Of course," she said. The next few moments were a whirlwind. The children ran around, laughter echoing across the garden, while Daniel calmly managed the introductions and explained small details to Emily, like where the extra chairs could go and how the sunlight would hit the aisle at the perfect angle. Emily's fiancé, Mark, arrived at that moment, eyes wide in surprise, clearly trying to take in the sudden flurry of activity. "Emily, is this planned?" he stammered, clearly unsure whether to be impressed or overwhelmed. Emily shook her head, a laugh escaping her lips. "I invited Dad as a joke," she admitted, but apparently, he took it very seriously. Daniel stepped forward, smiling warmly at Mark. "I just wanted to make sure my daughter's wedding was as memorable as she deserves," he said simply. Mark nodded slowly, a smile forming on his face as he extended his hand. "Well, welcome to the family, all of you," he said, and Emily felt a rush of relief and happiness at his acceptance. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of excitement and minor chaos. The children helped with decorations under Daniel's gentle guidance, Michael coordinated the caterers and staff with quiet efficiency, and Emily watched, her heart swelling with pride and love for the people who had arrived to support her in ways she had never imagined. As she adjusted a flower on a table, she glanced at her father and Michael, both calm and confident amidst the playful chaos, and she realized how much effort had gone into making this day perfect. The private jet, the children, Michael's presence, it wasn't about extravagance. It was about showing love, care, and thoughtfulness in a way that Emily would remember forever. And as she looked at her father, seeing the lines of his face softened by pride and warmth, Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had always joked about his seriousness, about how he could never let loose, but now she understood that his love had always been quiet but powerful, shaping her life in ways she had only begun to appreciate. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the garden, highlighting the joy, laughter, and unexpected happiness that filled the air. Emily realized that this wedding was no longer just about her marriage, it was about family, surprises, and the extraordinary ways in which love could manifest. She felt a lump in her throat as she watched the children laugh with Mark and her friends, their energy filling the space with life, their innocence reminding her of the beauty in small moments. Daniel approached her, kneeling slightly to meet her gaze. "Are you okay, Emily?" he asked gently. She nodded, tears threatening to spill, and hugged him tightly. "Yes, it's perfect," she whispered. "More than I could have ever imagined." Daniel smiled, ruffling her hair, a gesture filled with both love and pride. "I knew you'd like it," he said simply. And in that moment, Emily knew that her father's surprise had accomplished exactly what he intended. It had turned a simple joke into a memory that would stay with her forever, a reminder that family, love, and joy often arrive in the most unexpected and beautiful ways. The wedding day continued to unfold with a mix of joyful chaos and heartwarming moments that Emily had never expected. The 4 children, full of energy and curiosity, darted through the garden, exploring every corner and giggling as they discovered hidden nooks and secret spots behind the floral arrangements. Emily found herself laughing more than she had in weeks, watching the children interact with her fiancé, Mark, who was initially unsure how to handle their lively energy but gradually found himself drawn into their playful games. Daniel moved through the crowd with ease, a calm anchor amid the lively scene, quietly helping the children place decorations, offering gentle guidance, and ensuring that everyone felt included. Michael Green, standing slightly apart, observed with a quiet smile, occasionally stepping in to solve small logistical issues or reassure a nervous staff member, his presence seamless yet unmistakable. Emily realized that the combination of her father's grounded warmth and Michael's steady efficiency had transformed what she had imagined as a simple, intimate gathering into something extraordinary. As she adjusted the petals on a centerpiece, one of the children tugged at her dress and asked if she could help with the seating arrangements. Emily knelt down and guided the child, gently showing her where to place name cards, and was struck by the trust and eagerness shining in the little girl's eyes. Another child, with a mischievous grin, began running through the rows of chairs, pretending to be a wedding messenger, delivering imaginary messages to invisible guests. Emily could not help but laugh, realizing that the joy of the children was contagious, spreading through the venue like sunlight filling every corner. Daniel, noticing Emily's laughter, approached her and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You see, Emily," he said quietly, "sometimes the unexpected brings more happiness than we ever imagine. Life has a way of giving us moments that surprise us in the best ways." Emily looked up at him, her eyes glistening, and nodded, understanding the depth of his words. She had spent her life teasing her father, thinking of him as too serious, too structured, and too focused on duty, but now she saw that his love had always been present, guiding her quietly, supporting her, and shaping her life in ways she had never fully recognized. Mark, standing nearby, watched the scene unfold, a smile slowly spreading across his face as he saw the bond between Emily, her father, and the children. He realized that this wedding was not just about him and Emily, it was about the family that had formed around her, the people who had shaped her, and the love that radiated from every small interaction. As the ceremony time approached, Emily felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She had planned every detail meticulously, yet she understood that no amount of planning could capture the magic of these spontaneous, heartfelt moments. She noticed the children helping to line the aisle with petals, their small hands trembling slightly as they tried to do everything perfectly, and she felt a surge of affection and protectiveness. Daniel bent down to adjust a bow on a little boy's jacket, whispering words of encouragement that made the child beam with pride. Emily's heart swelled as she realized that her father had thought of everything not just for her, but for the children who had become part of their lives, for Mark, for the staff, and for every guest who would witness this extraordinary day. Michael, noticing a slight worry on Emily's face, stepped closer and offered a calm smile. "Everything is ready," he said gently. "You just need to enjoy it." Emily nodded, feeling a sense of reassurance wash over her. The blend of her father's love, the children's innocence, and Michael's quiet guidance had turned what could have been a stressful day into a celebration of joy, laughter, and connection. The ceremony began with the soft strumming of a guitar, and Emily took a deep breath, walking slowly toward the aisle. The children, holding hands, flanked the entrance, their bright smiles and excited whispers adding a layer of warmth that no decoration or flower arrangement could ever achieve. Daniel stood proudly at the front, his posture strong yet tender, eyes fixed on his daughter as she approached. Emily felt a lump in her throat as she took in the scene, realizing that this moment was far more meaningful than she had ever imagined. Mark extended his hand, and she took it, feeling the connection between them deepen in the presence of all the love surrounding them. The children giggled quietly as they placed petals along the aisle, one of them accidentally dropping a handful, causing Emily to laugh and kneel briefly to help pick them up. The small imperfections, the laughter, and the spontaneity made the ceremony feel real, intimate, and unforgettable. Daniel whispered to Emily, "Remember, life is full of surprises. Sometimes they are bigger than we expect, but they always remind us of what truly matters." Emily's eyes welled up with tears as she nodded, squeezing his hand before letting go to walk the rest of the way. Michael stood nearby, unobtrusive yet present, a quiet reminder that support could be both strong and gentle. As Emily reached the altar, she looked out at the gathering and realized that this day, with all its laughter, chaos, and love, was more than a wedding. It was a celebration of family, resilience, and the unexpected ways in which life could bring people together. The children's innocent joy, her father's unwavering love, Michael's quiet presence, and Mark's steady support had created a moment that would stay with her forever. And as she looked at Daniel one last time before the ceremony began, she knew that his surprise, his thoughtfulness, and his love had turned a simple joke invitation into a memory she would treasure for the rest of her life, a memory that reminded her that the most meaningful moments in life often arrived in ways we could never plan but could always cherish. The moment had finally arrived for Emily Thompson to walk down the aisle, and the atmosphere was filled with a mixture of excitement, anticipation, and gentle chaos that only a wedding could bring. As she took her first steps, she felt the weight of the day settle on her shoulders, not as a burden, but as a warm, reassuring presence that reminded her of the love surrounding her. The children, still full of energy but now behaving with quiet excitement, held small bouquets and scattered petals along the aisle, their laughter mingling with soft music, creating a magical rhythm that made Emily's heart swell. Daniel, standing tall at the front, watched his daughter with a proud smile, his eyes glistening as he adjusted his jacket and took a deep breath. He had always been a man of few words, careful with his expressions, but the emotion in his eyes spoke louder than any speech could. Michael Green stood beside him, calm and composed, ensuring that everything went smoothly, a quiet anchor amidst the emotional energy. Emily's steps were measured, yet her mind was racing, reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment, the years of her father's quiet sacrifices, his unwavering presence in her life, and the love that had shaped her into the woman she had become. She felt a lump in her throat as she approached, noticing how the sunlight caught the petals along the aisle, making them sparkle as if the world itself was celebrating this union. Daniel extended his hand, and Emily took it, feeling the strong, steady grip of the man who had been her protector, mentor, and best friend all her life. The small children followed behind, their innocent smiles and excited whispers adding a layer of warmth and joy that no formal decoration could ever achieve. Emily glanced at Mark, her fiancé, and saw the admiration and love in his eyes, a reflection of the bond they had nurtured over years of friendship and growing love. But at that moment, all her focus returned to Daniel, who gently squeezed her hand and whispered, "You've always been my little spark, Emily. Today, you shine brighter than ever." The words were simple, yet they carried a depth of meaning that made Emily's heart ache with emotion. She realized how much she had taken for granted, how often she had teased him, joked about his seriousness, and never truly acknowledged the countless sacrifices he had made for her happiness and well-being. Each step she took was a journey through memory, nights when he stayed up to comfort her after nightmares, mornings when he taught her lessons about responsibility, weekends spent exploring parks and museums, moments when he encouraged her to laugh even when life was difficult. All of it led to this aisle, this connection, this undeniable bond between father and daughter. The children scattered the last of the petals, their little hands shaking slightly with excitement, and Emily couldn't help but smile at their enthusiasm. She noticed how they had become a part of the ceremony, their presence a symbol of the unexpected ways love and family could grow. Michael quietly adjusted a chair and gave a nod to Daniel, signaling that everything was in place, and Daniel returned the gesture with a grateful smile, acknowledging the silent support that had made this day possible. As they reached the front, Emily saw the gathering of friends and family, all waiting with smiles, some wiping away tears, all sharing in this moment of love and connection. Daniel looked at her one last time, a mixture of pride, nostalgia, and unconditional love shining in his eyes. "Remember, Emily," he said softly, "life is full of moments like this. Hold on to them, cherish them, and never forget the love that brought you here." Emily's eyes filled with tears as she nodded, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude and admiration for the man who had given her everything without ever asking for anything in return. The music swelled gently as she reached the altar, where Mark extended his hand, and she took it, the warmth of his grasp a comforting complement to the steady, loving presence of her father. Daniel stepped back slightly, allowing her to move forward, but his eyes never left her, watching with pride as she began the next chapter of her life. The children giggled quietly, sensing the solemnity of the moment, and Emily smiled at their innocent joy, realizing that family was not just about blood, it was about love, guidance, and the willingness to be present in each other's lives. Michael, standing unobtrusively nearby, ensured that everything ran smoothly, allowing the focus to remain on Emily, her father, and the significance of the day. The ceremony felt timeless, a delicate blend of emotion, laughter, and quiet reflection. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the energy of everyone around her, and let the memories of her life with her father wash over her. She remembered the sleepless nights, the encouragement, the quiet sacrifices, and the laughter they had shared, all culminating in this moment of profound connection. Daniel's steady presence reminded her that while life could be unpredictable, love and family were constants she could always rely on. As Emily and Mark exchanged vows, she occasionally glanced at Daniel, seeing the pride and happiness etched on his face, and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This wedding, which had begun as a simple plan with a playful joke, had transformed into a celebration of love, family, and the extraordinary ways in which life could surprise and delight. The children's smiles, the soft music, the sunlight dancing across the petals, and the warmth of those gathered all contributed to an atmosphere that Emily knew she would carry in her heart forever. When the ceremony concluded and applause filled the air, Emily embraced Daniel tightly, tears streaming down her face, feeling the depth of his love and the strength of their bond. "Thank you, Dad," she whispered. "For everything." Daniel hugged her back, holding her close, and replied simply, "Always, Emily. Always." And in that embrace, Emily realized that this day was more than a wedding. It was a testament to the power of love, the beauty of family, and the unforgettable moments that life offers when we least expect them, a memory she would cherish for the rest of her life. The wedding ceremony had ended, leaving a soft glow of joy and love in the air, and now the celebration moved into the reception, a lively mix of laughter, music, and heartfelt moments that Emily Thompson would never forget. The children, full of energy, ran between tables, offering small greetings and playful bows to the guests, their laughter echoing like tiny bells, filling every corner of the hall with a cheerful, contagious warmth. Emily, radiant in her wedding dress, moved among friends, family, and well-wishers, feeling the deep happiness that comes when love surrounds you completely. Daniel, her father, was everywhere at once, making sure the children were safe and happy, greeting guests with quiet charm, and occasionally sharing a proud smile with Emily as he watched her glow with excitement. Michael Green, always calm and composed, quietly oversaw the smooth flow of the event, handling small details without drawing attention to himself, letting the family and friends enjoy the moments that truly mattered. Mark, Emily's new husband, was beside her, his arm steady around her waist, his eyes shining with admiration and love, and Emily realized how perfect the combination of love, family, and support felt in that instant. The music shifted to a soft, romantic melody, and Daniel extended his hand to Emily once more. "Shall we dance?" he asked gently, and she nodded, laughter and tears mingling as they moved together across the floor. The children gathered around, giggling and clapping, joining in with small, playful dances that made the moment feel magical, alive, and full of innocence. Emily felt the warmth of her father's hand, the steady rhythm of his movements, and the comfort of knowing that no matter how much life changed, this bond, this love, would always remain. She remembered all the years of his quiet guidance, the bedtime stories, the lessons in patience, the gentle encouragement, and even the playful teasing that had helped shape her into a confident, joyful person. Each memory made her heart swell as she realized that this day was not just a wedding, it was a celebration of everything that had brought her to this moment: family, resilience, joy, and unconditional love. Daniel leaned down slightly, whispering softly, "You've grown into an amazing woman, Emily. I'm so proud of you." Tears filled her eyes as she smiled through the emotion, holding onto his hand a little tighter. Across the room, Michael helped the children set up a small surprise, a miniature cake decorated just for them, complete with candles and sprinkles, showing them that even in moments of grand celebration, the little things mattered. Emily watched as the children cheered, their faces glowing with happiness, and she felt a rush of gratitude for the extraordinary family that her father had built around her, for the people who had cared for her in ways she had never anticipated, and for the love that now seemed to fill every corner of the room. Mark leaned close and whispered, "This is perfect," and Emily nodded, knowing he was right. The reception continued with stories shared, laughter echoing, and heartfelt toasts that captured the essence of the day. Friends and family spoke of Emily's kindness, her humor, and her ability to light up any room, but Emily's gaze always returned to her father, Daniel, who had quietly made every moment more meaningful, not through grand gestures alone, but through the unwavering love and support that had defined their relationship for years. Later, as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the hall and the garden outside, Daniel called the children together for a special moment. He had arranged a small, gentle game, allowing them to run, laugh, and create memories alongside the adults, reminding everyone that joy often came in the simplest forms and that happiness could be shared in the presence of family and friends. Emily joined them, laughing and helping, and for the first time, she felt the full extent of how much her father had influenced not just her life, but the lives of others around him. The children hugged him tightly, some whispering their thanks, others giggling with excitement, and Daniel smiled, his heart full, knowing that he had not only given Emily a memorable wedding but had shared the gift of love and attention with others who needed it. As the night grew deeper, guests began to slow, but the energy remained warm, lingering in conversations, smiles, and gentle laughter. Emily found a quiet moment to sit with Daniel, holding his hand and reflecting on the day. "Thank you, Dad," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "For everything you've done for me, for the children, for today." Daniel smiled, a mix of pride and tenderness on his face. "Always, Emily. I only wanted to make today special for you. Seeing you happy, that's more than enough." Michael approached quietly and added, "You did it, Daniel. This day is perfect because of the love behind it." Emily looked around the room, at the children playing, at the friends and family smiling, at Mark standing proudly beside her, and realized that the wedding had become more than a union of two people. It had become a celebration of life, love, family, and the unexpected ways in which joy could arrive. She felt an overwhelming sense of peace, knowing that the day had been shaped by people who cared, guided by her father's love, supported by Michael's steady presence, and enhanced by the innocence and happiness of the children. As the final songs played and the lights dimmed, Emily and Daniel shared one last dance, holding each other close, laughter mingling with tears, feeling the deep connection that would remain between them forever. The children waved goodbye, promising to remember the day, and Emily hugged them all tightly, thanking them for bringing life and joy to the celebration. Daniel whispered, "Remember, Emily, love is not just for one day, it's for every day, in every small act and every big surprise." Emily nodded, holding his hand a little tighter, feeling the truth of his words settle deep in her heart. As she looked around the hall one last time, she realized that this wedding, born from a playful joke, had turned into the most extraordinary celebration of love and family she could have ever imagined. The private jet, the children, Michael's presence, and Daniel's unwavering devotion had transformed her simple wedding into a day filled with laughter, tears, and memories that would stay with her forever. And in that moment, Emily understood that life's greatest gifts often came in unexpected ways, wrapped in love, care, and the beautiful chaos of family, leaving her heart full, her spirit lifted, and her soul grateful for the people who made her world brighter.